It's been 2 days, guys. Well, I guess it's good news. I was sick, so, I'm hard on myself even when I'm sick. Look at the greenery. I've been up for 2 days. I haven't been able to sleep more than 4 hours, and I'm energetic. So I'm jumping on today's video at 3 a.m. Monday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys and gals are so supportive. Look at Archimedes, bottom left. Olivine over there on the other side where you see the crater. Is that Autolycus or Cyrillus? Yep. The double crater on top. Incredible. Here we see, it's mesmerizing, right? When you get to the surface really close, it's just absolutely mesmerizing, the colors that are there. And people are wondering, well, is he adding color? And I assure you there's no color added. The colors that are appearing on the telescope, it's because it's a color telescope and we're seeing the colors that are on the moon. That's why we're seeing colors. You guys and gals really inspire me. This week at the live stream, like always, we had an amazing live stream. A lot of support, a lot of new members even, and new people arriving to the channel. And I just can't thank you all enough. Look at the colors along the Terminator line. And there's that elevated crater. Did you just see it? Back it up a little bit. You saw it not elevated, and now you're seeing it elevated. And even less elevated. You're seeing it completely flat. You're seeing it sort of elevated and then completely elevated. And of course, illusion, optical illusion or whatnot, bending of light, it's changing the way the elevation of the structuring on the surface, natural or not, is being able to be seen quite easily along the Terminator line. Real quick, let's go see some NASA footage. This is when they would have supposedly left Apollo 11 moon landing. This is after the landing when they're leaving, but I want you to take note of the flashes of lights that we're going to see. I descended the exposure. This is not my footage, it's NASA's footage, so the gray. I was actually happy there was some color in this one, so I really descended the exposure. No saturation needed, but I still put a little bit in. See the flashes of light both in the crater and outside of the crater, you'll see. But the greenery along that edge there is just fascinating me. That the moon is that green. Would it not have been so bloody beautiful to show the people that the moon was that color? It's really sad, isn't it? That together we can't all participate in the beauty of the findings, good or not, scary or beautiful. Either way, I mean, it's our right to know. And especially the way I'm doing it with my own footage, if I'm finding stuff with my own footage, well, I'm sure there's no, people that are going to be mad at me. Like, as for government associations, I mean, what do you want to do? At one point, the world is going to wake up, right? And it's just, I'm so curious about the surface of the moon. And now the fact that it's changing, the colors are changing on the surface, like, oh my goodness, does that mean that it's not going to be green ever again? Why am I saying that? Guys, I've really not ever noticed the moon change that much. A lot, yes, but not as much as seeing all the browns. First time I see brown across the moon like that. It literally looks like a rotten apple. Another flash of light there in the Apollo 11 moon landing footage when they took off to go back supposedly to Earth. Still, very, very mind-boggling when you're looking at that footage. No comment. Sometimes on the moon, there are incidents where UFOs go by, and several of them, and they're really hard to see. If you look carefully, they have the same reflectivity as the surface. So it's like, finding the expression, like, as they say, a needle in a haystack. It really isn't easy. But when you slow it down, oh yeah, and you have to, because not slow down, you're really not going to notice these, And the more there's an oscillation on the surface, well, the harder it is to see. I don't know if you noticed at the end of the frame that we just saw, there was 2 more entering on the right side. Go back and check that out. Here again, another 2 objects on the surface over Aristarchus. And again, they don't, some UFOs are going in a straight path, and some of them look like just flailing debris. Listen, 25,000 objects around the moon, they said, and Earth too, I believe, right? Or between Earth and the moon, 25,000 objects, 2 or 3,000 satellites in that group counted. So at least 22,000 objects that are pieces of debris, and they must be anywhere from, I would say a couple of a foot or 2 feet to maybe 20, 30 feet. Who knows, right? This is Aristarchus crater in the top left that you see the oscillating light. But let's go take a look at it. We're going to turn the moon sideways so that we can get a different view of Aristarchus crater along the terminator line. So I added a light filter, meaning it brings everything that was white yellow. Why? Because with that filter, quite simple filter, we can see, again here inversion, exposure taken down with a green filter. It's just so that we can see what's going on with the lights. And there are lights on the surface that are actually moving and changing places. You could follow them, watch them with your eye. I've showed it before by slowing the footage down way close up, but I love watching it like that because in reality, just look at it. Do you think that's the sun? I really don't think so. One of my favorites are these 2 UFOs that are arriving on the surface of the moon. Yep. Look what's happening behind it. It's showing us the mountains and lights that are behind the terminator line that nobody ever sees, obviously. What's helping me see the mountains behind these UFOs are the UFOs themselves. They're bright. They're illuminating a very large part of the surface. And the lights in the background, guys and gals, those are other UFOs possibly roaming around. I'm not making it up. You can see it in the footage. You saw 1, here's 2, and look in the background. Some of these are coming from the surface in a very strange way. Those of you who've seen it before know what I mean by that strange dark arm or shadow that raises up off the surface. We're going to go see that right now. Look at how it illuminates. It's absolutely mesmerizing. It's incredible. And it's proof, of course, that this UFO is really close to the surface. Did you see properly what raised up off the surface? We'll see it a couple of different ways, closer possibly, with, of course, the exposure taken down. Because the more I take down the exposure, the less we see the light. So I have to be very, very tedious when I'm doing that. But it's incredible, guys and gals. What do you think? Watch the black shadow or arm or whatever it is actually rises up off the surface. And what fascinating, we're going to see it here. On the left, where the arrow is, just a simple something that rises up. But right at the end of that black, mysterious object, a light appears, and then the light descends and comes towards the moon, the east side of the moon, and actually descends under the hazes. This is a nice filtering right here. Watch the lights in the background. Look everything. Look at all the details. There's a lot that we are seeing. It's research. It's not a movie. It's not clear all the time, and it's not easy to see. Sometimes it's pixelated, especially on YouTube. There's no pixelation here. I hope you all know that. None whatsoever. When you upload a video to YouTube, no matter what the quality, you may get a little bit of pixelation, but we can still see that this mysterious UFO, which is basically an unidentified flying object on the moon, is descending under the hazes. So this showed me a lot of stuff. It showed me that, I'm like, where's the surface, right? So if they're going under the hazes like that, that means the gray that we see on the moon is possibly just the atmosphere. Maybe most of the areas we don't see the surface. There are a lot of high elevated areas on the moon, and that's probably what we're seeing. Not a wonder there are clouds around those regions. Whether it be cloud or dusts, they're there. Anyways, For those just arriving to the channel, these are real UFOs. This was captured with a P900, actually. Did you know that? Yep. And just a simple magnification to be able to see. There's nothing to see. It's a light. It's a UFO arriving at the surface of the moon, and it's illuminating the side of the moon. Lo and behold, to my surprise, this object rises up off the surface. A light comes from the end of it and spirals towards the surface, but then I see it go under the surface. So I analyzed this for a year and intensely analyzed it to try to find so many details. It's easy. Watch this. You can tell when it's... There you go. That light that's appearing on the surface has a shape and form, and it's appearing, and you know it's not the sun. You know it's not something that's pixelation either. Pixelation happens, yeah, refraction also, but it's easy to see the difference between a refraction and something that's actually illuminating on the surface. So 90-degree angles, do you, my friends, believe that an asteroid could cause these craters to have straight, jagged lines like that? And when I say jagged, I mean that is straight. That's like 90-degree angles. Mare Serenitatis, 2.5, almost 3 years ago. Ladies and gents, I got another video up this afternoon for you all. If it wasn't for my amazing community, this channel wouldn't even exist. Thanks a whole bunch, everyone. I really appreciate it.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston.